Hello there, and welcome to episode 130 of the Childless Not by Choice podcast. My name is Civilla Morgan. My mission is to recognize and speak to the childless not by choice women and men around the world, reminding you that you can live a joyful, relevant, fulfilled, childless not by choice life. I also welcome you if you are not childless not by choice. Maybe you did not want children. Maybe you have children. Thank you for tuning in. Well, I would like to take a moment to thank the people who make a financial contribution to the platform on a monthly basis, my Patreon patrons. If you are not yet a patron, visit patreon.com/childless not by choice to set up your monthly contributions. And no matter your giving level, I do have a gift for you. If you prefer to give via PayPal, you can do that. You can find me at PayPal at booksbycivillamorgan@gmail.com. That's booksbycivillamorgan@gmail.com if you want to give via PayPal. And if you want to become a patron, then you would go to patreon.com, patreon.com/childless not by choice to set up a monthly contribution. And all of this information is in the show notes. So thanks to my patrons, Jordan Morgan, the Knights, Susie, Tiffany, and I really appreciate everything that you do to help maintain this platform. Well, once again, welcome to episode 130, episode number 130. This, my friends, is the Father's Day USA edition, but would you believe that none of the gentlemen you're about to hear from are American? I mean, they're not American and they don't live in the USA. How did that happen? I do not know. But this just underscores the point that, and the fact that childlessness is global. It's worldwide. It happens in communities, villages, and hamlets around the world. Childlessness affects people of all financial statuses, races, colors, everything you can think of. Everybody's affected. Well, not everybody, 25%. 25% of humanity. I don't think that's outside of the realm of the truth. It's the truth. It's about 25%. So, let me specify. 25% are dealing with infertility and or childlessness. Okay? So I don't get letters. Anyway, I am so honored to have these guests for our Father's Day episode. I reached out to these gentlemen and asked them to talk to us about how they manage Father's Day, and they agreed. I really wanted their voices to be heard by the childless not by choice men who listen to this podcast, and of course their wives and other family members. And so, I'll get to that in a minute. The first few years of this podcast, let me say this first. The first few years of this podcast, I did not consider the fact that men could be childless not by choice. Seriously. I guess, when we are deep in our own sorrows and just trying to tread water and try to figure out what's going on, we can sometimes forget that other people are hurting. Men are hurting, just like women hurt. Maybe in a different way, which I'll talk about that in a second as well. But, the other thing I figured out was that although I know what it's like to be a childless not by choice woman, how it feels, how the heart hurts sometimes, even, yes, all these years later, I can sometimes still feel a little tug. When you see that family walking down the street, it's human nature. It's what you do about it and what you do with it that counts and matters. And years later of dealing with childlessness versus maybe just starting out on this journey of childlessness, how we may be dealing with things differently. But the bottom line is, I know how that all feels. And I'm telling you as a listener, the people who subscribe to this podcast, I'm trying to explain to you how to deal with it. But I could never explain to you how to deal with it from a man's point of view. They're dealing with other things. They're dealing with things we don't even think about as women. And so I'll put these men's information in the show notes. I really want you to if you are a man listening here, or if you know a man that really needs help, I want you to connect with these gentlemen. Okay. So before I go off on a tangent, tune in here, listen to these gentlemen, and I will be right back.
Hello, I'm Andy Harrod, a childless not by choice man. I am part of the Clan of Brothers, which is a men-only support group on Facebook. We have been running for just over a year and are building up a community of childless men for support and friendship. If you are a childless man, please request to join us via Facebook. We look forward to connecting with you. I also write about my experiences at Invisible Childlessness, an online gallery for the creative expression of how it feels to be childless not by choice, as well as a supportive place to make the grief visible and to further develop the childless community's voice. I am on Twitter and Instagram as Invisible Childlessness, and I look forward to connecting with you there too. In the past, I've dealt with Father's Day by avoiding it, but then it just became another loss. Now my wife and I celebrate each other on the respective days, so more recently this will involve going for a walk in the hills and then having something nice to eat and drink, and spending the evening with our cats. I have found being active helps me be with and process the difficult thoughts and feelings that arise, as well as provide me with a sense of achievement and satisfaction as I am present in a place that is important to me. The nice food, drink, and time together as our family of humans and cats also reminds me that I matter and the importance of self-care. I have also found writing helpful and will finish with a poem expressing my feelings about not being a dad. It is called A Childless Father's Day. There are no daisy chains for you and me, no crown of flowers upon your head. There are no races to the top between your brothers and sisters. No placing of painted stones upon the cairn. There are no stories we will tell together of how the lizard-tongued fern got its name. No happy ever after for you and me. There is no holding of your hand or carrying you down, swaying asleep upon my shoulders as smiles skip between your mummy and me. Instead, we walk out of the way, lying down on deserted hills, breathing in and breathing out our grief, closer to our lost children in these hills, together, alone. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Robin Hadley. I'm a Doctor of Social Gerontology, and my subject is the impact of circumstantial male childlessness across the life course. I'm in my early 60s, I'm white, British, working class, and I live in Manchester, England, and I'm a mediated childless man. I was desperate to be a dad and didn't become one. My website is www.robinhadley.co.uk. And on Father's Day, what I try and do is carpe diem. It's Latin for seize the day. So to try and manage on Father's Day, I try and plan in advance what's going to happen for me and with my partner as well. So we do something on that day that's a little bit different, and maybe that might be just celebrating our relationship or something that involves something a little bit different but focused on us. Okay, so first thing is places to avoid. That's what we do. So restaurants, garden centres, all that sort of thing. Keep off social media and the media in general, because there's always something on around Father's Day. I'll try and avoid places where there are lots of families and fathers. Minimize contact with family and friends who will be doing Fatherly Day things. And I think, the second thing is really share the day with your partner, or all a part of the day with a friend if you don't have a partner. But there's something about planning and doing something around that. So if we're going to go for a walk, then it'll be an early start and a packed lunch, so we won't have to go into any cafes or restaurants or anything like that. But really the best thing for me that I find doing is doing something physical that will make a difference, like tidying the garage, loft, shed. I like to do some gardening. So planting things, tidying up and weeding. You can never do enough weeding. the weather is bad and I'm staying indoors, I usually try and plan to do something that I usually put off. For example, like completing a tax return or any sort of similar administration stuff that needs to be done. Something with an aim and something that can say at the end of the day, I got that done, got that out of the way. There's lots of free online courses, so there's always worth checking something out. So I'm rubbish at Excel, so I might check out an free Excel card to brush up that skill. And I try and balance with some nice stuff in there as well. So I like cooking, and I like to cook a nice meal, so I might do that or bake a cake or something. So to sum up, carpe diem, seize the day, and die habant, own the day.
Hi, my name's Michael Hughes, and I'm 1/3 of the Full Stop podcast and 1/2 of a childless marriage, which I document in our blog, marriedandchildless.com, and a member of the Clan of Brothers, a safe Facebook group for childless men. And I want to thank Civilla for inviting me to contribute to today's episode. Father's Day is one of reflection for me, as I'm sure you can all imagine. But many years ago, my wife decided that Father's Day would be renamed Michael's Day in our house. And you know what? I like that. It's her way of recognising our situation is also about me. Now, Vicky will usually start my day with a cooked breakfast, or a fry-up as our English brothers would recognise. And as much as it goes against my doctor's orders, breakfast is my most favourite meal of the day, so why not start that day with one? Next, I'll suggest that we'll go for a drive. Now, the thing I love about this is that I'm in control of who we are with and where we go. And I know Civilla has talked before about choices. We all have choices. So my choice is to isolate us in the car from the day and experience the sights and our favourite music and energise us rather than deplete us. Now, it's usually the place where we do our best talking, away from everything that we don't want to see on this day, and we usually end up planning a holiday as we're in a really good place mentally. I keep till the end of the day to see my own dad and to wish him Happy Father's Day, and making him even happier with his favourite chocolate. Now, some may see this as being quite disrespectful to my dad for not being there sooner. But I find the energising I get from looking after me first in the day allows me to see my dad with a smile and not dwell on the fact that there will be no day like this for me. Now, I want to finish by saying that I see you. And if you ever need a chat with another guy, look me up, or come and join the Clan of Brothers. Now, you can find me at www.thefullstoppod.com or marriedandchildless.com. Or you may wish to search on Facebook for the Clan of Brothers, where you will find a community of people just like you.
Hi, friends. I am Skumbuzo Dube of Shunem Care. Father's Day is not only a problem to the childless, but also to the fatherless. As a childless man coming from a society that glorifies fatherhood as manhood, coming from a society where you don't have anything if you don't have a child, coming from that society when the media is awash with Happy Father's Day messages, I must develop some thick skin that is going to help me to maneuver, to manage the anxiety that comes with this. I've grown to an extent of actually fighting against this pain that comes with this. And one of the things that I have done is to redefine fatherhood. A limited definition that is soiled by traces of pronatalism sees a father as a masculine biological offspring producer. It actually reduces him to a male animal that is connected to a child through a sexual relationship with a female of its species. it promotes irresponsibility among those whose virility results in the birth of children. However, to me, I have actually redefined what fatherhood is. A father is one whose shoulders are broad enough to carry those who are hurting without complaining. So this is one of the things that I do to manage Father's Day. And so another thing that I do is to do poetry. I write poems, I write articles. And as I'm doing this, I am in a process that I call righteous rebellion. You may be wondering what this process is all about. This is my rebellion against societal norms that have been set that cause those who don't have children to cower away in their cocoons and they become helpless human beings. And I just want to say, I have come and I've stopped by to tell somebody who doesn't have a child like me, to tell them, to tell myself as well during this Father's Day episode that you are valuable, you are worthy, you are a unique individual. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram as Shunem Care. And you can find my blog as shunemcare.home.blog. Be blessed.
Well, what did you think? How cool was that, right? If you are a childless, not by choice woman who has a childless, not by choice man in your life, I'm asking you again, please ask them to tune into this episode. They may listen to other episodes here in the podcast once they start listening to this one, which, hey, that would be really cool. But please have them listen to this episode. I think it's very helpful. I just enjoyed listening to these gentlemen. I listened to them a couple of times, a good 2, maybe 3 times, because I really just enjoyed what they had to say. And I really hope that they're helpful to the men that are listening, or the men that you may know as women who really need to hear this. You know, I do wonder how many men listen to this podcast. Look, I never thought about it. I just assumed men and women were listening, and maybe mostly women. Here I go again. If you are a man who listens and wouldn't mind saying so, please feel free to drop me a message by going to the website, www.childlessnotbychoice.net, www.childlessnotbychoice.net, and click on the link below that old-time looking telephone, and you can leave a message of up to 90 seconds when you click on that link. Or you can email me at Civilla@CivillaMorgan.com. That's Civilla@CivillaMorgan.com. And remember, all of this information is in the show notes. And don't worry, I won't use your full name. I never use full names. And in fact, I can also just say anonymous if that's what you prefer. Your voice or your message can be a great encouragement to another man. So please, if you are a man and you don't mind writing in or calling in, please do so. It would be greatly appreciated. Well, before I let you go, I want to ask, if you have not already, to be sure to fill out the survey. And again, the link to the survey is in the show notes. I am getting some really awesome feedback. I am reading every survey that comes back, and I really appreciate you taking the time to answer these survey questions for me. You know, we're in year 6 of this podcast. Next month, July, is actually my 6-year anniversary of this podcast. And so great details, big things, changes coming, and they're all going to be in next month's episode. I won't go into detail here. I don't want to detract from the awesome messages we just heard, but please do tune in to the July episode. Hey, even if you just want to drop me a line to wish me a happy 6-year podcast anniversary, that would be great too. I can read those on the episode if I get them on time. I'm still working on the episode. Anyway, thanks again to my patrons, and you guys are awesome. Thank you so very much. Thank you again to the gentleman, Mr. Andy Harrod of the United Kingdom, Dr. Robin Hadley of the United Kingdom, Mr. Michael Hughes of Australia, and Mr. Sikambuzo Dube of Zimbabwe. And so thank you all so very much. I really do appreciate you listening in and tuning in. Until next time, have a great one. Bye.